Hello, hello. I'm muting on my Discord. We are in Discord chats. We are doing session 0 for Sleeping Dragon's Wake in the Icespire Peak series. And we're just giving the chat a chance to see what a session 0 is, because usually we do session 0s offline. And so we're doing it on stream so you guys can see us chat amongst each other if you're freshly starting out D&D. And see what it entails. So we went over rules, and we're going over our in between one module to the other module, what we're doing. We have Amina, aka Zenora, Magic the Gamer, aka Zenithor, Grim Realities, aka the Cow, the Bull, the Radillac, Conrad, played by Sadiq. We have a Trashy in the chat, lingering like the little rogue Alexandrus he is. And I have a feeling that Emma, our giraffe human, is hiding in Skype accidentally, so he should be along soon. Possibly. We are gonna go over what a session 0 involves, is just going over our rules, the rules we had, if they worked or not, if we need some new rules. Lingering trashman, do I need to see a doctor? If he lingers for more than 4 to 8 hours, you really should get some help. And then we're going to have just a little chat where if you want to come in, we'll drag you up in here and you can talk DMing stuff and player stuff. So, because I am on cold medicines, I will need a lot of reminders. Alright, so our old rules were, and you guys are going to have to remind me, that I rolled death saves for the people so that they would be equally surprised. And any of those rules, I don't care if we want to change, if we don't like them. So, do you guys want to keep that rule, or you guys want to roll your own death saves from here on out? Thoughts?
I don't know. I like having the power of my own life in my hands, but that's just me.
And yet you don't have any power.
Although the dice have the power. So we want to roll our own death saves now?
I'd say it makes sense for us to roll them. I mean, you're already rolling a million other things anyway.
Okay, so yep.
As long as we're not as long as we're keeping those to ourselves, like we're not communicating that to other players so they know, whether they should use healing or whether it's too late and we're dead.
So
well, I do know in D&D Beyond now you can direct message the DM with your rolls. You don't actually make them public anymore. So
all right. And now we've got critical successes were the old max damage plus whatever you roll. Do we want to just do double what you get or whatever? Or do we want to keep it the way it's been?
Kind of feels better the way it's been. A critical success.
Do the max and then roll the extra.
Yeah.
With that added, though, I've never seen it come across in the campaigns so far. But if you're doing that extra damage, which, like you said, makes sense, what about those that are dropping from a height in form of an attack point of view?
And that's something we got to talk about too. So if you're purposely dropping on someone, I feel that unless you make that dex saving throw to land acrobatically or fall right, you would also take the damage, is what I feel like. What would realistically happen in real life? Would you also
That's what I'm thinking.
damaged?
There's velocity involved. So if you're doing like an Assassin's Creed assassination style attack, there's physics and velocity involved. So I don't know if that's playing into the same ballpark.
Indeed. Falling damage. Give me what I want, Google.
If you do it from D&D Beyond, it'll actually
There we go.
give you 2.
1d6 bludgeoning damage for every 10 feet to a maximum of 20d6. Hello, Drex. So it would be 1d12, or we would do 1d6 times 2. We do your total times 2.
Oh, so you're talking instead of changing from doubling just to going a bigger dice.
Well, I mean, we could do either or, really, if you wanted to.
Actually, going to a D12 sounds a little bit more realistic, I guess.
Because that means you could land well still, or you could, you've got that chance. So we could do falling damage is 1d12 per 10 feet. So we went over death saves. Ema, we are now going to roll our own death saves. But you'll just message the DM in Discord what you get, so you know. Fall damage is 1d12. Critical success is going to stay the same. And Magic brought up a really good idea for healing. So, Magic, you want to help me explain this? But I'll try. But it's going to be bad, so you probably have to reiterate. So, he was saying that all the fighters always get a chance to critically hit, right? But the healers don't ever get a chance to critically hit. And if healers could critically hit, they might have that thought that they would heal more. So he was thinking, if you guys do a healing, maybe roll a d20 just to see if you get that nat 20, and it'll double the heal. Did I get that right, Magic?
Yeah, pretty much. So it's your damage dealers have an opportunity on a nat 20 or even a 19 for certain classes to critically do more damage. So, and the healers miss out where they only just, I'm going to cast Cure Wounds and just roll whatever die. So I've seen it on a couple other D&D channels, and I thought this might be a good one for us to implement, for the healers to give them, a little bit, let them have a moment, like, Ratalac can pull off an amazing damage dealing hit, and Paul Zanoran just does,
yeah.
a D8, or, might do only 10 heal or something like that, and don't get an opportunity to, the healers miss out on big moments, crit moments. So that was something that I threw at Yanti, so I don't know if you guys think that's a good idea or not.
I'd rather go with all magic, not just heals.
Well, I mean, when you do roll to hit on Magic, you do have a chance to crit hit, so that's not really the same, is what I'm thinking. Plus, if I give you a crit hit on a fireball or some crazy crap, that's just a little, like, you have to roll to hit. No, that's a save, isn't it? You know what I mean?
No, it sounds good to me. I like it.
Yeah, having seen it implemented, I kind of like the idea of it as well.
So, heals. You get a chance to roll a d20.
Okay, so now on the other end of that, if they get a nat 1, what happens?
Do they heal the bad guy?
Or do they
Does it
heal?
fizzle?
Do they heal normally, but also take a percentage of damage?
Well, we don't really do anything. We used to do stuff for nat 1 that you accidentally hit the other person next to you, but we don't really do that for nat 1s. We just say it misses. So I don't I don't know. That's up to you
Or,
guys.
or you could do a roll on wild magic on that one for a heal.
Ooh.
What are the shows you've seen it in do for a nat 1, or hasn't that come up?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
It's even the roll on a 20 has been very
Yeah, it
low
would be.
percentage for the healers. So yeah,
Because that's the thing. I mean, the 20 is the only thing that's going to make a difference.
Yeah.
Like anything lower than a 20 is going to do nothing. So
That's what I feel. Yeah. I mean, we'll keep it the same. It's just the 20 is a divine kind of
yeah, rolling d20s is fun.
yeah.
oomph. Yeah.
I was just thinking about adding a little bit more spice to it.
I think you're going to
Well,
have a
if
spicy
you get a
time.
nat 1, then Carlos gets a spear in the shoulder.
Spear. Carlos isn't here, Eva.
He always gets the spear in the shoulder.
Oh, God. Okay. So I went over what I need to go over for that. Ema, you have some stuff about gold, which we were doing in Skype, but I feel like we should just talk it out in case, because I don't think Sadiq watches the Skype as much and stuff like that. So let's. I didn't.
Sadiq said Conrad wouldn't have taken the gold, so it didn't really matter to him anyway.
All right, so Conrad didn't take the gold.
Everyone else took the gold. I had a stockpile of basically all the stuff I've been collecting. So effectively, it was 200 gold apiece for Zenora, Nate, Bilfin's wife, because I couldn't convince Bilfin to take it. Radlac, 200 for Marigold, and Ema would get something as well. But because Ema put all the gold into his bag, that included his tally of gold that he had anyway. But and then that would leave about 500 left over for the group to decide what to do with. Ema would basically just get scrapped to the gold. I mean, in general, he doesn't really need it or care about it.
How much was the tally left over from what was in the supply?
So the supplies in the ship equaled 2,000 gold.
Mm-hmm. And did we give that all to?
I believe Magic said, as Zenithor,
You gave it to the village to pay back your debt.
You gave a percentage to the crew as well, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Did you not split half of the booty with the crew? And then your
half of it was to the crew and something else. I can't remember what the rest was.
which left you 1,000, and then did you split half of that with the town, which would be 500?
Well, Griselda said that the debt was paid.
All right, so you have 1,000 in supplies, which is in supplies.
Plus the 300 gold in the chest, the 2 silver daggers, and the ring and wand from Sovendal.
I didn't include any of that stuff, but just had what Ema had on him.
You have a ring of warmth. You had a dagger of venom, which I think you gave back to Sovendal.
Yep.
Those daggers were 500 gold each if you were to sell them. So the supplies, you have supplies. So you could sell that to Leyland for gold, which you could have done in your month interim and get the money and sell the daggers for 500 each, which would give you another 1,000 if you wish to do that.
What was the wand?
That was a magic missile, if I remember correctly.
Mina raises an eyebrow. Ooh, we're going to be using that later.
I'll have to think about that one. Because
No,
Sonora doesn't know that the debt's been paid. So, there is that.
You would probably find out in the month that we've been in there that it has in some point of time.
Zenora and Thea get drunk, magic missile, Xanathor up the butt.
I don't think she'd have to be drunk to do that.
Conrad, then.
I'm the who wasn't hostile to Conrad except for the first time when I turned around and said, "Do I kill him or not?"
I don't know if Emma was, apart from painting him green.
Marigold will take the gold you give her to take care of Gary with, because she will not be able to accept that, but she will use it to help you, Phil. So
Half of what Emma is getting, he'll give to Mary and Joseph, who have been taking care of Emma and their children, which will effectively end up with Emma having about 67 gold. Is the way I figure it.
all right,
And some silver.
gold all sorted. Everyone's money sorted. Or are you more confused than ever? Some of you look more confused.
I just know I've got 200 gold and I've already added that to my sheet, so that's about all I know.
Theory. That's my math problem. See, Session Zero is all about just dividing money. It's math.
And we still have the wand and the ring.
All right.
And the diamond.
Now, is there any other rules that you guys want to talk about, implement, or get rid of? All right. So you're going to have been, we left you guys off at the ritual of the egg hatching and the lovely little babies coming out of the eggs. You're going to start the next module with a month passing. You'll have been away from that scenario for a month, and we're going to talk about what each of you want to do. If you want to keep it private to chat, just don't bring it up. We can bring it up after. But when we do start the episode, you're going to be back at the Lizard Folk tribe for Silesia's brother to embark on a soul journey. Now, a soul journey to you guys in Australia is like a walkabout, or in Native America, it's a shamanic journey into adulthood that the lizard folk take, because we're following the lizard folk, kind of like the Native Americans. Go with what you know. So her brother's going to take a soul journey. You are invited to the ritual, so you will all 5 of you be there for that. And it's equivalent to like a peyote you'll be taking, and I'll be going through this in the intro, so it's not really a spoiler, but you'll be taking like a peyote or something, and you guys will have a vision, and that's where we're going to take off on the intro from there. Last module we did a month's time. You guys basically narrated what you were doing. You guys were walking in, Xanathor and Zenora were walking in from the fields. They kind of narrated a little bit. So we could do that again. Ema, what would you be doing for the month, you think? You'll be spending time with Gary and Marigold.
You'll have to alter your map a bit, but I'd use the folding boat in Marigold's backyard for what do you call it? Playhouse for Ema.
Oh, that would be so cool.
And spend basically time with Ema and Marigold.
You mean Jerry?
Yeah. Spend time with myself and the other person I've forgotten, even though he's related to me.
I think it's cool you made a folding boat for yourself to play in.
Yes. And I'd get my I'd take my shield to
Yes.
Thilfin and his wife and get them to adjust what it looks like.
All right.
Mainly as an excuse to give them the gold that he refused to take.
Are you gonna want Vilfin in on the RP on that, so we can invite Evil in?
I've talked to Vilfin about it. We can invite him in if he wants to come in.
On that one, Evil, if you want to do that, I'll message you and see. Or you can pop in after the session 0 and we'll drag you in here for talkies. So RP with Vilfin. All right. And that's pretty much all that you'd want to do for the month?
I'd also want to talk to Magic, because I don't know that diamond came out of his necklace, but if he was able to put it back into the necklace and then put it back around his neck, that's what I'd do with it, because I have no use for it whatsoever.
So you want to talk with Xanathar. And
in general, the whole fact of carrying a diamond around with me is just absolutely a pain in the ass, being the fact that I've got a bag full of grass and with a small box in it full of gold.
Yeah, that would be hard to fish out. All right. You'll probably want to do that RP with Xanathar on stream the first session too, so. Yeah.
Yeah, if need be.
All right. Conrad. Furrowed brow.
I would be trying to convince Radalak to go back to the Legion.
Is that something you're going to RP in session 1? Or you're spending the month less nagging him constantly? What do you think?
That sounds about right for Conrad.
Yes.
You coming? You coming? You coming? You coming? Come on.
Well, that's the thing. There is the possibility that I may not be there. So yeah, I think that's probably the best way to go. Like, I've been convincing Radalak to go back to the Legion, and if I can't physically be here, I would have gone back to the Legion.
Conrad. Now, Radalak's mother said 5 days. Give your answer. So, that'll be done off stream. Unless you want to play it out that it got delayed. So that would be up to you, Grim. What do you want to do?
I don't know.
Do you want me to, that'll be something we'll have to think about in the next 2 weeks, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So about convincing Radalak to join the Legion. Is there anything else that Radalak would probably want to do?
I was thinking he'd probably try and find out if the Legion actually had Serena and Cole. I was thinking of enlisting the help of that young bard girl.
Scylla.
Yeah. I don't know, I just thought, who would I ask to do sneaky sneaks for me? And I'm like, she's not really quiet, but she's sort of got her own way, and you know, maybe she's... I just like trying to think of what he'd do to find out before he said yes, because of course at the moment his answer is yes. I don't think anyone's like really surprised by that. But he'd still want to know if they actually had them.
Yeah.
Suspicions.
All right. So you're going to want to talk to Scylla possibly, or you have talked to Scylla.
Yeah. I thought about Var, but I mean, can you trust a man who has bolsters of
and what's wrong with Var? Come on.
I mean, at least Pip
He-
only has a couple of appendages at a time, not a whole box.
Look, VAR is very handy.
Hmm. And
Uh,
Eerie?
Yeah, he can lend you an ear if you ever need one.
or give you
Not
a hand.
anymore.
Well, he can
Very
also
good
acquire
listener,
more
though.
ears if need be.
Isn't it funny how like he's playing a guy with chopped up body parts, and then in VTM he's playing a guy with chopped off body parts as
Yeah.
well. There's a pattern. That's all I'm saying. So, and no, Evil, we're not doing that tonight. That's just for session 1. We'll be doing it. So the 17th, if you're free, the 17th is when we start our Sleeping Dragon's Wake, which is a Friday. So. Yeah. All right. So, are you going to want to RP talking to Scylla? No? Not
Nah, probably not.
really? Okay. I also left Zenora with leaving a note on a tree, markings on a tree, which will be gone over if she chooses to go back to that tree in session 1. Zenora, what do you want to do for that month?
Several things. Should probably be with the lizard people a lot. Should be learning Draconic because that would be advantageous for her and her her shaman quarry.
Alrighty.
Be handy to know the shaman's name.
Yeah. We're going to have to name the baby too.
So she'd be there and she'd be traveling to and from Leylon. And while she's in Leylon, she will be checking for Serena. She wants to get to the bottom of this so that Radalak doesn't have to go back to his mum if she can help it. She's looking to find another way.
Okay. So I will offline, once I figure it out, give you what you found on the tree. So I'm going to write that down because I know I have to remember that offline. I'm going to let you know what you found on the tree, or if you found anything. I'll probably roll to see if she marked it or if she didn't, since I don't even know. And
But
what it
while she's in Leylon, she would be leaving, what she can, trying to find her just anything she can.
Okay.
And other than that, probably just spending time with Thea, because I'm guessing Thea's still there. So with us, probably bugging us, and probably being with one or the other, either me or Nate, depending.
So we're saying in a month of you spending time in that language, constantly around that language, that you have learned Draconic, because being in a month in France, you'll pick up a lot of French if you're just living in that situation. So you'll have enough to get by. Not fluent yet, but enough to have conversation back and forth. So right. So you can write down Draconic,
yeah. So in that case, if I've got to read lips with Draconic, I should make a roll for it.
Yeah. Because it's going to be a little iffy. Because they're probably talking easier for you as you're learning it. But if they're talking to each other really quickly and stuff, you know how it's like, what?
She'd probably practice that, but I feel like she'd need to make a roll to see whether she does read it or not. So.
All right. And
I think that's it, other than what I've already messaged you. So
we need to name the baby Shaman. So
okay, chat, come on.
Come on, chat, give us a lizard folk female baby name. And please keep it clean. So Drax, you're not allowed to answer. I'm just kidding. Emilia, really. Zenithor. Thea has been here for a month. In town, just saying.
She could come to the lizard people occasionally.
She could also learn Draconic with you, because she is going to be traveling, and she does need to pick up some stuff. So, you know, it's a thing. What do you think you'll be doing?
You'd probably get Thea to help out with that plot of land to get it a little bit prepared.
Okay.
Other than that, obviously being very proactive with the council, with the meetings and such, and potentially lending any of his martial aid for the guards.
Oof. Okay.
Um,
We're gonna talk about that later. Yeah.
But he would also at some point would like to acquire a set of plate mail.
Plate mail.
So, yep.
+1 or just plate mail plain? Common.
Whatever Xanathar will be able to afford.
Okay, we'll look that up. While I'm looking it up, you will know. Make an insight roll for me. With advantage if you're spending a lot of time with the martial efforts in Leilon.
Hang on, let me pull up.
Sometimes we roll for this stuff.
So obviously he would go to the forge for that information.
For the plate mail.
Insight, did you say?
Yep. Evil, what are you charging for plate mail?
With advantage.
Anyone gonna stop by and help Biffin with his house? Or are you gonna snub him for the month? Ah, fuck him. No, just kidding.
14, Yanti.
14. With a 14.
Yeah, that's what I mean, Eva. Xanathar is going to be proactive in the council helping out where needed, that kind of thing.
So he probably would help you with your house because that is part of the town renovations.
Correct, and there's probably, I don't know whether we actually completed Marigold's house, so that'll be something also that he will be wanting to complete.
Marigold's house will be completed. All right, and we're going to go over some stuff too that you guys will have to write down if you want to feel that your characters will remember some stuff. We got some NPC names for you guys, which I'm going to bring up now. With a 14, you're going to realize that Haziorum spends almost as much time as he possibly can in his office, napping with his feet on the desk, bossing around the people to get the tower done, making sure that he gets paid, trying to avoid as much work as he possibly can. He never goes on patrols. He always sends other people. You're going to find a lot of things about him that, I feel like Xanathar wouldn't like, but that is up to you. That he just is that guy at work that tries harder to get out of work than actually doing it. One of those. And he is leading the militia. So, plate is 1,500. Usually Vilfin will do it for 750 gold, half price. Is what Vilfin's saying. If you're going to go to Vilfin for plate mail. I'm going to look up. I was going to look up to make sure I got these names right. For so we know Torver has a new general store where it's just like Barthen's. You can get your camping provisions, your rations, your oil lamps, all that stuff there at Torver's post. Umber Hawkshell Inn is the same prices as the Fandel and Stonehill Inn. And We have a new shrine in Town Hall to Timora, who is a goddess of luck, and that is led by. I'm looking. Sorry, I have a cold still. That is led by Puck Caribdas, a male elf. Caribdas. He runs the temple and he sells potions. He only has 1d4 vials of each potion, so we'll roll depending on the day you guys come in. So they refresh every day. So you can get things like, you'll have known this too, healing, potions of climbing, potions of growth, water breathing, heroism, those kinds of potions for about anywhere from 150 to 5,000 gold if you're doing the heroism one. Umber Hulk is Alion, Alion, so like a lion. Malwyn is who runs that. That is your NPC that you'll be dealing with if you go to the inn a lot. It is 5 silver for a bed, 1 silver for a meal. There is a quest board at the town center on the map. So now the council would have told you that anything you guys want to do for the extra money is going to be right on the board, and to come to them for any extra details that you need. So Zenithor especially would have told you guys that. And that they are looking into the undead ship, because you guys know that that was not the right ship that Zenithor saw, and I feel like he would have told Griselda about it to be further looked into.
Yeah, he'll probably, when you were talking about the Dreadnought, probably he would speak to Valdi a little bit about that, since she's probably the one with the more information.
Yeah, so they're probably at this moment sending feelers out for that month. So Red Lag, if you're involved in ships and stuff, you'll probably know that as well, that they're looking out for ships and things like that, for messages like that. Anything else that you would have wanted the council to put feelers out for regarding stuff you had visions of or seen or anything like that?
Zenora probably would want to know about if Helia had found anything about the Maleonin.
The Maleonin. All right.
Oh, the Leonin. I think it was a Maleonin though.
That's probably going to be either an RPN session. Is it one with her private, or I'll tell you offline private?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll write that down. And there's another thing. The settlers' camp. Griselda has appointed a leader for the settlers' camp, because there are just a few people still there, and she wants it to be guarded and taken care of, and people to lead that settlers' camp. So there's a very cocky, very cheeky woman by the name of Mazera Shea. Mazera Shea. So if you do have to go to the settlers' camp, you guys know how to talk to her.
What happened to Sue?
What happened to Sue, Ema? No.
You know how we sort of found her being fine and dead and then chucked her in the tent?
I know.
What happened after that?
I don't know. What happened?
And you haven't told any of the group that Sue is alive, or that it was
Nope.
Sue.
No.
Just sort of took her and then threw her into Griselda's tent and then never saw her again.
I know. It's weird.
So basically you don't know.
I'm not telling you. You may or may not see her on the... It's like magic. That's right. I do know what happened to Sue, but that's just something that if you guys pursue that or not. So...
Well, I think Ema would look for her knowing that him knowing that she's around. At very least, he'd ask Griselda what happened to her.
Maybe. Hey, so you think over the month you've asked Griselda what happened to Sue?
Yeah, because I mean we were hiding her,
Right.
so
Griselda would have told you that they gave her supplies and sent her on her way to do her own thing. She wanted to leave. So she has disappeared. With their help. Valdi might know more. If you guys don't notice, you're getting the vibe of a Halia vibe from Valdi. She's kind of like, she knows stuff. She's kind of quiet. She keeps it to herself. So, all right. So from what I got, did you want to RP with Vilfin? Because Vilfin will be in RPing with Ema. This is for you, Magic. So if you want, you can walk with Ema as he's getting his shield done and talk with Vilfin.
Sounds good.
So, Trex, you're muted. I don't know if you're just muting and
I know
and
I
laughing.
was talking to myself.
Okay. We're not privy to that conversation.
I'm pretty sure Evil knows what I'm laughing about if he's still there.
Oh, okay. Did you want it to be private? You wanted a private Delphin moment? Because we can have it come after.
I don't think it'll matter, but it might piss Nate off. So that's all good.
That is up to you, Nate, if you choose to go in later or not. Apparently.
If they don't want me there, you won't go. So, I mean, you'll make a point of business at some point with Vilfin and Navina, whether it's...
Ema wouldn't know that what he's requesting would piss you off. So
I know what
yes, you do know.
I do. Oh, shit. Okay. Well, you know what? That's out of my hands.
Am I gonna need that diamond?
Maybe.
There's a 90% possibility you probably will. I know. Shit. It just went over my head until then I saw the flash of the picture and I was like, oh fuck. It's gonna be great, RP. I can't wait for session 1 now. It's gonna be good. All right.
There's
Tune in.
Yeah, there's one other thing I want to do that I would do during that time is I would give my signed photo of Eggburn to the innkeeper. Because I did get a signed photo of him, and
you did. Autographed, yeah.
if he's a well-known bard, then he can frame and stick on his wall if he wants to.
It's gonna be on the Umber Hulk shell in of Eggburn. Yeah. All right.
Meanwhile, all of a sudden, the inn suspiciously has a scorch mark. You know where this thing was. The other thing that Sonora will probably do, is probably spend some time with Griselda whenever she goes into town.
Right.
Possibly going onto the mountain and actually having a drink with her.
Okay.
But yeah, nothing major, more catching up on events and just talking about stuff, outside of everything.
Zenithor, are you gonna RP that land in session 1? I think you know what I'm talking about.
You could, yes.
Okay. I will leave that to you then. I'll write it down but
Well, I mean, if it's ready to go by session 1 in the month that we've been there, then definitely.
So are you clearing it? Or are you just tidying it up? Making it? Or is you just getting paperwork done?
Well, the paperwork was going to be done in a couple of days from what I recall of
Yeah, so it's
the
probably
epilogue.
done. Yeah.
So whatever time that he has, he will be preparing it for what's required. So
Face me,
yeah, it's possible he'll have it ready.
Just let it happen, Mina. Shh.
I
Hey,
hate
look, if I'm having surprises by fucking Ema and Vilfin, Zenora can have her own surprises.
I hate surprise, and I'm guessing Zenora is probably very much the same.
Join us session 2 for the resurrections
Zenora
of
doesn't
these
know.
players.
No,
So-
Zenora doesn't know, but yeah, the sister does.
I guess
Thea
I gotta
knows.
ask. I guess I gotta ask.
You know.
If I've got 5 days to decide, where am I after those 5 days?
Are
That's
you-
why I'm not planning for a month's worth of RP if I'm not there after 5 days.
So you say you're going to join the Legion.
If I can't find anything about whether they've got the kids or not within 5 days, which I'm assuming I can't,
Where's my dice? Let's deal with this. We'll deal with this. We'll deal with this bullshit right now. Zenora, the tree. Tell me odds or evens. Oh, here's what we'll do. I'll roll. Tell me odds or evens. Odds she's there or evens you think she's there?
Odds.
All right. What do we get? All right. You get a message on the tree, scrolled in Elvish. Noted. We're safe.
Okay.
You would have probably told Radalac. I mean, it's a month, so you probably would have told Radalac. Radalac, you know they're safe, according to Serena. If she shows you the tree, you'll recognize it's Serena's hand.
no.
Zenora. I'm trying to think what else she would do because I don't feel like she'd want to leave it. And probably put meeting ? In Elvish underneath that.
All right. As in, you want to meet her, or do you want to meet?
I want to meet Serena. Actually have a conversation.
All right. She probably would have met you in that month. By the tree.
Yep.
And what would you want to take away from that meeting?
One, is it their mother? Because I think Conrad said, or someone said about the mother. I think that was said, actually, to the group.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember.
She would have told you it's the person that raised them.
Okay, so it's the tiefling.
She was resurrected by a turtle-like creature.
Yeah, I know who that is.
We all know who that is. Yeah. Radlac will know who that is. Hey, Juicy.
Is there a way they can escape?
They are safe. They are getting help from someone named Var.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I knew you guys would say that. Who has connections outside. And they will let you know.
And I will let her know any information that she can give me that can help us get them out and Radalac away from his mum. We'll try and work that out, and that would be the whole point of it. Everything to get them safe and Radalac away.
All right. Right, like you would have this information. Would that affect your decision?
He'd probably still spend a lot of time wondering whether he should go back for other reasons. Especially depending on how convincing Conrad is and what his reasoning is.
Conrad, roll persuasion.
Super convincing.
Roll persuasion. I want to see how persuasive you were in this month.
Okay, wait a minute. I've got to bring up the character sheet.
This might take a while. Anyway, you can just roll a d20 if you want. No, he wants to do it right. All right. Don't fecking about. All right. So I don't want Radillac to go.
No, and Sonora's trying to convince him otherwise.
But otherwise, he'd probably just help out around town and try and stay away from his mother as much as possible.
All right.
So
he could always pay Var to take her out. I mean, come on. How hard
I
is it?
really feel that Var couldn't take her out. I don't even want to roll. It's not even a bunch. It's not even an issue. There's no way.
what sort of taking her out are we talking about?
Yeah.
She's spoken for.
Movies,
Yeah.
candles,
Yeah.
roses,
Yeah.
couple of extra ears.
Yeah,
Some
sounds irresistible, really.
foods.
Okay, my persuasion check is really, really persuasive with a 9.
All right. I feel like Zenora's probably persuading you more. Zenora, you want to roll persuasion? You can roll persuasion if you want. It's up to you.
I've got a -1 to persuasion.
You
You
can
really
still
want
roll
to
a 20 and get a 19 and be better.
Hey, so do I.
So hang on. So apparently Nate's bad at bartering and Z's bad at persuasion. Yeah, okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
you're fucked.
No, Sonora never said you were bad at it. It's just that you were playing, you weren't used to it, and
Look, I think out of all our characters,
No,
if
you
anyone
made
had to-
assumptions.
if anyone had to haggle, it would be Nate, because I know what his stats are, and based on his character sheet, he would be the best haggler.
but yep,
I mean,
nope.
he's got the charisma. He just...
Yeah.
Maybe he was purposely bad at bartering just to be
No, I'm
cheeky.
saying nope. I don't convince Radillac.
Oh, no. What do you got?
I got a 6.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, man.
Guys, come on. No one wants to
Nope.
help. Radillac, you're on your own, buddy.
Yep. I don't make my own choices. I'm a grown man.
Like, you
As I
guys-
said, I'm really persuasive.
You ever get that advice and you're like, yeah, still nothing. I don't really...
Yeah. Just escape to sea and become a pirate. And we're like, well, none of you have made any good arguments. I'm off.
Can
Gonna
I
find
have
the
it-
bullshit.
Can I have advantage with Serena on my hand?
Zenora.
No.
14 if that helps.
Halia sends a message through to Valley. She passes it to you.
Mm.
The Maleonin was purchasing a ship called the Destiny.
Yeah, I know who it is. But Sonora
I love
doesn't.
it when shit comes together like this. Hey guys! Hi Psycho! Hi Rogie, we got a raid from Rogie Rogue. Hello!
Damn it, I know who it is. Frick,
How
but
was your
Sonora wouldn't.
How was your stream, Rogue? Have you had a good time? We were just doing a D&D Chest Zero, pissing off Mina, and not pissing her off, surprising Mina with lots of surprises. So,
Not so much surprised, more,
dang it.
I know, but Sonora doesn't.
Yeah. Everyone's good from the SCW. Cool. Rogie's probably still shutting down his stream, as you do when you're streaming. And you raid somebody, you gotta shut it down. Lots of insanity. Oh, I'll have to rewatch. I was in there beginning. I missed the end, so. Cool cools. All right. We're just doing some D&Ds, getting ourselves ready for the next episode, which is the 17th of December, which seems really far away, but it's not if you think about it. So, where were we? Yes. So, without saying any names, they did not know a name. Melionin. Purchasing ship.
Did she ask if it had a scar or a burn mark on their face? Was that noted? She would have asked that.
Yanti do not know, but you know who it is. So if they do, then she would have said.
Okay, I will private message you considering.
Yep.
Yeah.
To make sure that we have the same person in mind.
Yeah.
So.
It's Mufasa.
You can't see Bogan. It's almost like he's upside down. What? I see a lot of Bogans in this room right now.
Hey, now.
I didn't say you, Graham.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. All right. So, his name is Scar. Be prepared. All right. So I think we've covered most of the surprises and stuffs and stuff. So you will be starting you'll be starting right back at the tribe, right where you left off, but it is a month later, and you will be having a vision, and I'll describe that, and you will go into your kind of torpor-like state. I will do the talkie talks, describe what you guys see. You'll all see it at once. Ema, are you adventuring with the party? You would still find a reason to go somehow, even if you're not. So.
Going where? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
That's bad, Drax. Bad Drax. Shame on you. You are going to be starting the episode at the Lizard Folk Tribe, having a ritual. So even if you're not adventuring, you're going to still be starting there. So either you're peer pressured to go. Yeah. And if you think that you're peer pressured by Marigold to go, she'll be there too. It depends on what you want to do. But you've been there because Geraldine, well, the snail will be there, so you'll probably want to say hi.
Yay, the snail.
Meow. So there you go. All right. And that is pretty much it that I have for the session 0 part. If you guys don't have anything else that you want your characters to do or no. Going once, going twice.
I'll probably DM you some stuff, but.
And then if you want it to be a surprise, yes, DM me.
Yeah.
I think anything else will be a surprise, I think.
Yeah. So that just gives me time to know what you guys want to RP. So that we can plan it out. I think it's going to be an RP session at first. It might lead into a quest. We don't know. You guys are obviously have a long rest. And you're at 9. So make sure you get your spells and stuff updated in your feats. And then we'll now take people. Sadiq, if you want to grab people that want to talk D&D stuffs. So evil, anybody, they can
Just move to Kindred so they can join.
move to the general. Are you going to move us all to general?
No, everyone can just move themselves to Kindred.
Is that going to change my camera settings?
No, just move to Kindred.
Or just drag them in? Or you should just drag them in. Because we don't want people that are in D&D just popping in. No offense, Juicy. There's an evil. All right.
Okay.
So now we're just going to talk some D&D shit until we get bored. So And you guys can grab coffees in and out as you go if you want. It's just to relax. So what I was going to do, since we have some viewers like Kitty and people that are new and they want to start D&Ding, but they don't know how, and they have anxiety, what's the best advice that you could give them for wanting to be a new player?
Have your husband drag you in and say you're going to do it.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Pretty much. Oh, you're
Forced.
doing D&D, by the way.
Forced peer pressure is always good if you can.
I'm not exactly was not new to the whole D&D scene. Some learning curves come up every now and again because you're always learning it because rules are different for each class and race and all that kind of stuff. Probably, I don't know, the biggest one for me was the fact that I'd be on camera. Something that took a lot for me to do.
Yeah, me too.
If you're streaming it, yes, that's one thing. But if you're just like doing like your Sunday
Yeah.
ones, like grim runs, that's your best way. If you can find a DM that is willing to like have newbies, and like is patient enough to allow them to be new and learn and not know everything off the bat, and be overwhelmed because like you look at the character sheet, to us it's easy, but to a new person it is pretty overwhelming. Like you've got all these skills, you've got all these abilities, you got you got spells. It normally it is the best suggestion is you play an easy class as your first class. Don't play a spellcaster first off.
Druid's probably your easiest spellcaster.
Druid was fun.
Yeah.
The wild shape gets confusing if you're new, but I mean, with help.
That's the thing. Like it's
By the time you get wild shape, you're kind of fumbling around with it anyway. It's not as complex as knowing, oh, I have to have this material to be able to learn this spell and this cost of money and this amount of paper to be able to learn this spell, and then I've got to have this materials to be able to do it again when you're a wizard and stuff like that. So
the thing is, you can negate all that from a DM's perspective to make a spellcaster class easy for a new player. Is you just say, hey, we're not going to worry about that.
Yeah, give
We're
them
not going to run material components. We're just everyone's going to have a focus.
Yeah, that's
all you have to worry about is the gold cost. Like those spells that require a component that has a gold cost, we say, hey, we're just going to worry about paying that gold cost. Don't worry about that extra stuff for now.
Yeah.
Just start with the basics.
Even though Zenora has a focus, she still has the components on her. So she just has components, and depending on what spell she's got up in her list, she'll have that material. And I have roughly about 20 or 30 components in her component case and stuff like that. Makes it interesting because it gives me an idea to have an item that I may be able to use outside of spellcasting, even though I've got the focus. So
I'd say the biggest hurdle to get over with anxiety is just like get in, like put your hand up and say yeah, because the anxiety will be, at least for me, it's mostly before, and then once you get there, like if things are going well, you're having so much fun, that's not there. And if you can do it with people you know, that's going to be even easier. But like everyone's there to have fun and tell a story and to play a game together, and it should be fun. And they want, like DMs want new players. We want more and more people playing to have the same experience as we do. So
yeah, the good part is everybody wants the same thing you want. to tell a good story. They want you to
And
succeed. Go ahead. Nima.
new players tend to bring a new perspective to things. They add new ideas to it. They, they think of things that, more experienced players haven't thought of.
Drax.
I was gonna say I can
Yeah.
think of one example,
Drax and his cantrip.
Mr. Cantrip abuse, but more cantrip. What's the word I'm looking for here? Creativity.
Open, out of the box thinking. Out of the
Yeah.
box thinking.
I mean, there were some uses of those cantrips that even Baz and myself have been playing for over 20 years had never even considered.
It also comes up to the DM to allow a new player to do those weird and wacky things with a spell. Like, whoever thought to use Shape Earth to turn it into a chair?
What are you going to say, Emma?
I know, as we've sort of said, it's come up in chat even tonight, and like with the previous Sanctum and even with my campaigns, the rule of cool tends to be the general rule that most DMs try and follow. If it's cool and if it doesn't really break the bonds of any kind of in-game reality in that particular content, then why the hell not? I mean, let it run. Let your players have a bit of fun with it.
Go ahead, Drax.
If you make a character that makes you laugh, then you'll love it. I mean, when I made Emilia, that was my first character ever made, and she's on 30 sessions in before she actually had a combat that she actually participated in. It's just like use her abilities to make a chair and sit down and do nothing and watch. Sit back and enjoy it. Just in general, be a dick, but it was a fun thing to do, and it got me into it hard out. And I've been into what? This is my 4th campaign coming up now, plus the one shot.
That's hard to believe. Holy crap! Really? Yeah.
And what? Just over a year, because I started Kirsten Sharp was my first, and that was just over a year ago.
Yeah, well, that's been running over a year now, so yeah.
Another thing too, and this is from a roleplay perspective, is have a flaw. Like my flaw that I originally had for this campaign has evolved into something completely different. But having a flaw gives you a bit more depth and a bit more. You can have fun with it. Like with Vaz, he can't tell the truth.
Literally.
Kind of like the person
you can
that
have
runs
fun
the
with
character.
your flaws and your things like that. But if we're strictly talking about brand new players into the game that have never played,
just
ease into it. Just let your character develop naturally with the people that you're playing with. Definitely easy to get into a game that people you know or people you spent a little bit of time with at least. For us here, the community that we have, we've got a lot of D&D players now across multiple communities. So there's going to be a lot more people that may want to get into it and may be able to get into it because of what we're doing across the multiple streams. So
yeah, and I was just thinking with those flaws, it's just to give them something that they can lean on for an RP perspective, because that is something that if you have that, you can fall back on it. If you're stuck for words, you're like, well, what's my flaw? Oh, I can't tell the truth, so I'll just start lying, or
that's just trash, not wanting to talk much.
Well, another one for new players is don't focus too much on that part.
Don't overthink the RP.
Yeah, just make them easy. So okay, make it so that you don't tell the truth all the time, or you have
make it an easy one to fall back on, kind of thing.
Yeah, you're soft spoken, or you are quiet, or you're quick to anger. Just
look at JJ. JJ's probably a classic example of someone that came into it fresh, starting with Grim, and you guys, and just in the Discord, and sort of off camera, he was freaking out, leading right up into that mini adventure. Like every day, he was messaging me in the DMs and Discord, going, "Look, I'm really nervous, I'm really freaking out." And I said, "Just don't worry about it. If you don't have anything to say, don't worry about it. The other players will help you They won't push you into it, but they'll help you by asking you questions, and just answer the question. Don't try and think about a voice. Don't try and overthink the RP stuff, that side of it. Just answer questions that are put to you in character. Think about what your character might do in that situation. By the end of that mini adventure, his whole character had changed from he barely spoke in the first 2 sessions to the last 4 or 5 sessions. He was right there with everybody and heavily involved in the RP side of it. So again, he was there with people he knew that he's known for a while. Obviously, Magic, myself, he said Baz helped him heaps just by constantly in character asking him questions and involving him in any kind of RP and conversation, which I think is the key. As long as you involve the new players as much as you can without pushing stuff onto them.
And that's probably good advice for people that want to treat a new player coming in. Like, don't overpressure them, but keep them in mind if they're quiet, like a certain giraffe human. Like, just ask little questions, kind of include them in. What are they doing, you know?
Like asking if they were, what was it? If they were a goat.
Yes, I'm a goat.
Were you once a goat?
We once a goat. I was like, ooh, close. A little bit longer neck, and we got it.
Funny thing is my first thought was giraffe, and I'm like, there are no giraffes in
There's no
D&D.
giraffes in D&D. Oh, God. All right.
There is now.
Canon.
So which of the characters, I got some questions here, revolving around our module though, mostly, do you think has evolved the most? I think there's more than one. But since the very beginning of Icespire, now some of, like, Zenithor hasn't in since the beginning. But the true, like, not the same as they were when they started. Also, Conrad hasn't been in it. But Vilfin's trying to stay true. Ralak, I think Zenora's evolved.
Vilfin has no depth.
I feel like Zenora's evolved. And I feel like Zenithor's become more amped up. Like, almost stronger character. As far as progression. Maybe Trashy's has evolved the most.
I'd say Ema just gaining his memory back made him evolve.
Yes, Ema having his memory back and then going through the Draven stuff. Evolving. Oof. Do you think you guys liked Icespire more, or do you like Stormlord's Wrath more? Story-wise.
There's definitely more in Stormlords, but I think Icespire lent more to RP than Stormlord did.
Yeah, so more battles in Stormlords, but...
Yeah. Just busier. Probably not necessarily more battles, but I think there's just more going on.
Yeah. I think I mentioned, like, you kind of felt like you were rushed. Like, you're like, oh shit, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to do this.
Which is crazy because Icespire has like double the amount of quests than Stormlords, but Stormlords had so much more going on to cover. So.
Yeah, it felt busier. I think that's probably the easiest way to describe it. But that's probably just the way the module's set out.
Yeah, I think so. This one is even more like that, so it's even less quests, but more amped up as well. So we might take our time. You know, we always take our time, however long it takes. So it'll be interesting. So from a new DM perspective, so we did advice for new players. What if you're starting and you want to actually tell your own story? I think we went over this before in Evil's chat where he says don't make a whole world, right?
Yes, Evil made this mistake. World building for a new DM it's fun, and you can just fall down that rabbit hole so easily and disappear and never to be seen again.
I think
But yeah, world building is something that you don't want to go too deep into on your own campaign, and depending on how far you're going to take it.
I think maybe having a concept or an idea and starting off with one shots or multi shots, just as a concept and not a whole entire world, like you said, because then you've got to add in religions and all that kind of stuff. Get your confidence up to be able to do it. But have an idea of what you want to do and then work from that and just make it into, yeah.
What do you think, Conrad? You've DM'd before.
I personally found modules to be the best way to go, because all the work's done, and then you can homebrew it from there. Building your own world is extremely painful.
And there
But
are
if-
also
I wouldn't say it was painful. It's just very, very involved. Again, depending on how far you're going to take that story. If you're looking at a mini adventure like with Sanctum as an example, you still created an entire. You based it around a city rather than an entire realm or entire place of being. Like with Paradigm, it was an entire realm. So I had multiple cities and multiple areas. You had history you had to come up with, and I spent so much time worrying about history. I mean, it came out in the end, and it turned into a really good world, and we did well with it. But I spent a year almost planning it prior to it, on and off, before we actually started it, and then half the stuff, I'd say probably 80% of the stuff that I'd written never actually got used because of places you guys didn't go.
Yeah.
Yes, I can use that in other, Paradigm 2. I can reuse a lot of that stuff. I can re-alter it and stuff. Most of the laws there now, that work's done. I don't have to worry about it again. But I just went that too far to the extreme. What I should have done was started with Paradigm and the outlying areas and just had that to begin with, and then expanded the world as you guys progress through the story, rather than trying to lock things into that early on, because sometimes things don't work out that way.
Yeah.
also to expand on what Sadiq said with the modules and that one shots, they actually do have written one shots that you
Yeah.
can actually do. There are websites and stuff like that you can actually get a scene
books.
or something like that, or books, yeah, like what you've got. So
Yeah.
just as a heads up, you don't have to create your own one shot. It's just have an idea and maybe we build on it.
DM Dave on Patreon, that's another, offers free adventures every month, and those adventures can be scaled from low level to high level.
Grim, you're a new DM. So what advice you've done? Mine's of Delver so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you've done a starter module that's pretty good for new DMs.
Yeah.
But what advice do you have also if you're going to start out?
I think it depends on what sort of DM you are too. Like, I think there's people that will suit modules and they'll take that written experience and make something great out of that. But if you find you get inspiration in telling a story that's a bit more free, then I would suggest, giving, like Mina said, like if you've got an idea for a world or a setting, give it a go in short bursts. Like, take that creativity and do something with it. Don't like bottle it up or feel like you're constricted by modules.
Yeah.
Different strokes for different folks, pretty much.
Oh, and another thing for new DMs, don't overplan it,
Oh yeah.
because the players
It
will
will
go
go
the
wrong.
exact opposite direction to what you have planned.
You're
Even
like,
matters.
I didn't do that to Grim at all. Not once
Even if
did
you
I do that to
underplan,
Grim.
your players will screw you at every turn. I guarantee you.
yeah, they will.
Have a general idea of everything, or one or two things, and push them towards those things. Because you will get trolls, No
Drax.
matter, yeah, you.
Drax.
But at the same time, players in their own right will be RPing their character and going, okay, I've just seen this guy kill that guy. I'm going after that guy for that reason. Which might not have been anywhere near the storyline that you've had. That person that was getting killed needed to be killed for a good reason, but the players have taken it on their own right to go after the murderer when they were actually meant to, examine the body because he had a letter on him that actually started the quest. So yeah, players will fuck with you.
Also, yeah, I've learned this in Icespire. If you want your players to go a certain way, don't give them a choice. Like, I'm going to put 2 choices on the quest board, but I'm going to make this one look better. They're bound to pick that one. They won't. They will pick the opposite one no matter what. So just don't. If you have a set goal, yeah.
There's certainly ways to incentivize players to go in a direction you would prefer, and the modules sort of set out like a skeleton where it'll be like, well, your players might do this, but they might do that, but it doesn't like explore all the options they'd take, and that's where you need to either, depending on who you are, like have plans for it, or just, oh, they've done this, and then cogs turn, and you're like, oh well, this is what happens when they do this.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're the best moments where you've just gone, right, well, this will be what happens, on the spot.
I mean, a certain element of railroading, as they call it, is necessary in homebrew and module to get players where you need them to get the story. It can be done really subtly. It doesn't feel like you're being railroaded. Like Yanta says, you present them with limited choices, with places that you want them to go, instead of just saying, hey, the world is yours. Because if you go, hey, the world is yours, they will explore the entire world. They will look at every house, every toilet, every bathroom.
Every toilet.
Not looking at anyone in particular, Brad. But they will do everything. If you give them everything to do, they will do everything. It's human nature to explore and to want to look at everything. So if you only give them specific choices, but make it feel like it is still very much an open world, they will go to those specific places. It's all how you do it.
An example of that is Sonora wanted to go to the carnival because she had this feeling about the giraffe. And she's going, shit, how do I redirect her? What's her weakness? Kids are her weakness. I'm going to make this kid go missing.
And again, that's just DMing. One thing I have discovered, because to be fair, I'm still relatively a new DM as well. Yes, we've been running, since I started, it's been over, 2.5 years. But what I've discovered with that sort of thing is 2 things. The best RP is the RP that's not planned.
You can turn off your camera if you want to, Mina. It's okay.
So the RP that happens within a situation that's not planned and just seems to be the best RP. The amount of times that I've gotten in the situation as a DM and as a player with another player where you've not actually planned on having an RP session with someone or talking to someone or an NPC, and it just sort of happens contextually or within that particular situation, 9 times out of 10, that's the best moment of the game. That impromptu, unplanned thing that just happened. The DM is walking through listening to the RP of the players, and then all of a sudden think, shit, that'll be cool, and they just jump in and add it in. Or they add a place in, or somewhere like you can go here and do this, and this particular thing happens. So even though you might be playing a module which is pre-written, or even a homebrew which you've pre-written particular aspects of it, you'll find there'll be lots and lots of moments which will be completely unplanned and impromptu, and those will be your best moments in most situations.
Also, advice for new DMs that helped me is just because the module says that this person has something, information, and they completely don't talk to that person, does not mean that no one else in town or no other place in town isn't going to have that information. You can recycle it and you can still stick it in somewhere that they can find it if it's necessary. So don't feel that the module is your end all be all and you're stuck, because it's your choices, you know.
So as
It's a guideline.
I was about to say that the module itself is still just a guideline. It gives you your story, it guides you in a direction, and then you make it your own. I mean, I dare say that Icespire Peak and Stormlord's Wrath, you didn't play it letter for letter,
No.
character for character, place by place, and the same thing with Strahd. I have so much homebrew content in Strahd, it is not funny, and it's still Strahd, but we've altered stuff, and the players alter stuff as they go too. It's not just the DM. The players will do something that you think, shit, okay, that's cool, let's run with that. So you just roll with the punches.
I find if you play it that way as well, the world feels more alive.
Yeah.
So RPing in it is a lot easier. From a player's perspective, at the same time, it doesn't feel like us versus the DM. Because you, well, that's the thing. You don't. The DM's playing the game as well. There's like in our one, there's 7 players. Yanti's the main psycho player who has split personality because of the fact that she's playing every NPC.
How true those words are.
And we are the other players that are playing just one character. And it's the best
Some
way
of
to
you
do
are.
it.
Trashy and Zenithor, do you guys feel that you like combat more? Or do you feel like you like RP more? Because I feel like you guys are 2 different people. I feel like Trashy's going to say combat, but I'm not sure.
I do enjoy the RP in it.
Yeah.
Like with Scathers, I feel a little bit left out with him.
Oh, you know he can evolve.
What thing is, your character can evolve.
Yeah,
so
I get that.
You're only left out because you created the character in that way. So to put yourself back into it, you need to evolve the character. Because
He's getting
every
there.
player, well, you're almost at the end. Every player in that has given Scathers so many opportunities to be involved in RP, and you've played Scathers as you think Scathers should be, which is awesome. Scathers is who he is, but it's up to you as a player to evolve your character too. So don't. The one thing that I probably would give any player advice is when you give yourself flaws or your flaws in your traits, they're not set in stone. They can change. If you think that your character's evolved for whatever reason, you think those flaws and those traits may change, talk to your DM, because they can change. They're not set in stone. They're very fluid, and your character can change based on that.
So feel
Classic example, Zadriel. We've had an oath change with a paladin because of events that have happened within the module itself.
So do you feel that you're like in the RP? Like in Sanctum as Jinlu and you're like in the RP. Do you like combat though too, don't you?
Oh, of course.
So you're backstabbing.
When I get to do the stuff I want to do, yes.
When you get to, yeah.
Jinlu was a cool character though. Like, I think you've done so well with Jinlu.
Jinlu's amazing.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing what you're gonna do with the character in campaign 2 as well, considering what we've already talked about. So
What about you, Zenithor? What are you liking? Are you a combat guy? I already know the answer to this, but you might surprise me.
I think it depends on the system that you're playing as well as a role player. Coming from primarily a Vampire the Masquerade background, there's more directive to the RP rather than combat per se. There is combat in VTM. It all depends on, again, the stories. I also feel it also depends on the character that you create as well. Some characters are designed to be a pure combat machine, whereas others are more designed to be an art, like, you know, to do the more quieter stuff in the background, or be the or be, you know, be the RP. Like, for example, Zenithor, he's a paladin, so he's going to be in the thick of combat, so he's going to have to be able to do that. Whereas my other character that I play in Grimm's on a Sunday, Andy, is a sorcerer, but he tends to, like, he's evolving. Like, he's started off just as pure sorcerer power and firebolts and scorching rays and everything else, but in one of the last battles he was involved in, there were goblins coming in from one end, and the other than him, the rest of the party were on the other side of the room. So Andy, rather than go out and trying to be a blast cannon, tried to bide more time for his party by stepping out and acting as a target, so that luckily he had like shield and whatnot to be able to help him. So he used his wills more than just straight out, you know, going out and incinerate everything that he could potentially see. In Evil's one shot, I mean, you pretty much are designing characters to be combat machines. Just it's a one shot or it's a multi, so you're not really there to level up or you know, be more in the RP side of things. But again, it's dependent on your storyteller or the DM as to where they let the direction go. If they see that it's going to be an RP moment, then go for it. So I guess for me, I'm kind of, it's dependent on the situation.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah, so I mean, there's times where Zenithor just will sit back and just let everybody else do their thing. Like, so he wouldn't participate in RP. There's certain social or certain aspects that the rest of the party are more versed at, so he'll just stand back and let the rest of the party RP it out. Whereas there are other times where Zenithor goes, "This is my moment, bitches, give it to me." So yeah, it just all depends, really. I feel.
I feel like the last battle was a my moment, bitches moment. So yeah,
it made sense because Zenithor, for those who don't know, he's a paladin and he's taken the oath of conquest. So one of the conquest things is that you go into battle, you find the strongest one there, and you take them down. So that's what he did. He went straight for Gadriel, knowing that that's the one we're there to take down. He went in and saying, "Well, you give me all you've got, and I'll give you everything I've got, and we'll see who's standing."
Exactly. I'm gonna go around. Favorite class? Trashy. We all know. We know. Trashy.
Yes, rogue.
It's a rogue. Surprise! Why?
I just like the sneakiness and the stealth that they have.
So you like playing from the shadows, which makes sense
Pretty much.
on why your RP's kind of quiet, because it's sneaky.
Yeah, that too.
So yeah. All right, Drax. So far that you've played, or that you want to play, what do you think?
Druid, hands down. I
Evalia?
loved Emilia. I loved playing with cantrips. Loved doing spells. Loved being the healer. Just
if you like
yes.
cantrips, I would suggest Warlock, Cantrip King. Be good. Grim.
That's really hard. Probably the Warlock.
Yeah.
Yeah. just super interesting. And as you said, Cantrip King, but I like that idea of having a patron as opposed to like with a cleric or a paladin where you've given an oath to a god. It's like this thing that's like, well, I'll give you a little bit of something if you give me something in return, and that dynamic I think is really interesting. So I've always enjoyed that about warlocks.
Yeah, that's what Jinlu and Relora have. The scratch my back, I'll scratch yours kind of thing. Yeah. Zenithor.
That's hard, because I'm only relatively new to D&D myself, so I've only dabbled with Paladin and Sorcerer mostly, and then of course the one shot. So primarily I'm a guy that's about magic, hence my fucking gamer tag.
No way.
But particularly with this campaign, when I was given the opportunity to choose where Zenithor was going to go, the calling was literally the three options I had were all martial characters. So I had Paladin, Barbarian, and I think the other one I was considering was Blood Hunter, but I quickly got rid of that because of the complexity of that character. And I'm going, well, for my first time, it's kind of like, yeah, nah. So yeah, primarily I like the caster. I like to try a warlock. That is something I want to do because warlocks are my thing. If I can find a warlock in an RPG, that's where I automatically go to.
Nice. Yeah, you were kind of thrown into this.
I'm keen on trying other characters as well. Like I think with D&D and the ability to multi-class as well just gives so many dynamics. So,
right, Mina, Sonora, what do you think?
I've predominantly played druids. So in the original campaign, I played a druid. Fire druid is my favorite druid because they get revivify, which is something that not a lot of druids get, from what I've read. I also, so I'm like where that's going. I've played a barbarian, I've played a fighter, and I've had dabbled with a ranger. But to be honest, I actually am really enjoying the grave cleric that Tash is.
Yeah.
I like what I will become. The fact that she can negate natural 20s is like, I'm sitting there, can't wait for that. A critical hit, I can negate it if I see it within a certain distance.
Get ready, Graham.
He's already aware of it. I'm like, oh! But yeah, just I like the fact that I'm playing the Kalishtar too, because it adds a complex nature of that back and forth that I'm doing, which adds more to the whole cleric thing. Who did Melora pick? Was it the quarry or was it Tash herself? Trying to work that around. So.
Yeah. Sadiq, aka Conrad, aka Bastion, aka Sebastian. So you've played a couple things. So what's your favorite?
I've actually played all the classes before, but I dare say my most favorite one was Monk. Out of them all.
Really?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Monk. But I more enjoyed the 3.5 edition of Monk over 5th edition. But at the same time, what I've seen the current Monk being able to do, yeah, I could see myself playing a Monk again.
And evil. Oh, it's probably played all of them as well.
Yeah, for the amount of time I've played D&D, yes. Going right back to advanced D&D. My go-to character has generally always been a melee character, either fighter or barbarian specifically. But I would say probably my favorite class to play to date, even including 5th edition, would be the Warlock, funnily enough.
Yeah.
The old cantrip kings, because they are more than just a cantrip. Especially with 5th edition, with the subclassing that's available now, and the different patrons you can take, the different paths you can take, Pact of the Fiend, Pact of the Old One. It doesn't necessarily have to be a devil or a demon that you've made a pact with. It could be a number of things, which I think is very cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Warlock's always been my favorite caster class. But I mean, secondly to that would be any martial class, basically, which is why I enjoyed the monk as well.
I think I've been a druid with Fiela /Ildry. I've been a rogue recently. I've been a barbarian in Bez's one shot. What else have I been? I feel like I'm missing some. Oh, paladin.
Don't forget the paladin.
Don't forget the paladin. So actually, I am usually a ranged spellcaster in games as well, but the paladin has been super fun because of all the stuff that she can do that's pretty high damage. And I'm actually liking the rogue. But that's more the race. We didn't go over races, so you can shout out what your favorite race is. But I play a Kenku, and the challenge of playing a Kenku, the limitedness of it is fun.
I've got to give people credit who play Kenkus. I don't think I could, based on what I've read of the character. I don't think I'd even attempt to play a Kenku, honestly.
So I'm going to do a Kenku and I'm going to do the exact same Kenku. Nock is going to be in Cam's, but she's going to be a wizard. She's learned some magic from a certain person that's been teaching her magic. So that's like her mentor. I don't know who that is. Melee the gamer or somebody. But anyway, so she's learned some of that. And she's going to be a Kenku in that one. So we'll see. You get to see what I'm doing with that. And I don't know. Does anybody else have a favorite race that they like? That's their go-to? I know somebody likes a changeling a lot. Probably for the sneakies of it.
There are limitations to certain races as well. I preferably, honestly, human. Of all the races that you can play, I think still human. Just the frailty of a human makes it more interesting to play than any of the other races. No dark vision, nothing really special about them. I think it's probably why I enjoy playing them.
I liked playing a centaur as well. The centaur was fun. Just because, like, the problem of going upstairs and climbing and stuff, like, what the heck am I going to do? Loxodon was fun, Drax? Really? I mean, didn't end well.
Yeah, it didn't end well for Steve.
It wasn't my fault. You guys killed me.
Steve was a cool character. I liked Steve.
You just wanted to get your kid off.
Do you want to get my clothes off and my thong out?
Yeah, Loxodon Rogue of all things, probably the most unusual combination of character, of race, class. But when you look at it, they're still a medium character, even though they do weigh about the same as a Dragonborn. So they're up there with the Dragonborns being quite heavy, but they're still a medium character.
That's crazy.
It's still just funny to me to have a elephant as a rogue.
It just doesn't make sense. It should be large to me, you know, like
I think they should be large too.
Like Minotaurs are medium too, I think, aren't they? They shouldn't be, and neither should a Centaurs. They're medium.
I think Goliaths are also classed as medium. So, which is a half giant, basically a half giant. So
in 5th edition, they went with height being what actually sets you instead of weight.
But it still shouldn't be
medium.
To me, like a human's medium. So a human and Minotaur are
when you look
different.
at a human that may average, I mean, the average human is 6 foot ish in the world generally, and then you've got a Goliath who, on average, is between 7.5 to 9 feet tall. To me, they should be classed as a large creature, 100%.
Which is a pain for a DM because you're like, oh, technically you can go through this tunnel because you're medium, but honestly, you really shouldn't because you're Minotaur and that's freaking huge. But
yeah, and I think that's where we, as DMs, that's that whole rule of cool thing again. Is okay, size out the window. You can't fit this. This corridor is way too narrow for you, sort of thing, or whatever. I mean, it's again that rule of cool keeps coming up.
And that's the interesting thing. They've added a lot more small races. So they should surely, they're like, oh, maybe we should like balance that with some large races.
So.
But
well, the funny thing is
we may see
Radalak and
that
Sonora
Mhm.
are similar heights, whereas she's thin and lithe and all that. He's solid and large.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we did that whole cave thing with the dragon thing, she could slide her way through, whereas Radalak couldn't. So.
Yeah. Yeah, where I just said, nah, you can't do that. Because, like, I'm picturing this Minotaur's butt and these horns in the way. Like, I can't.
In other words, Sonora grew up, Nate grew out. He got the broad and width, and she got the height.
So Nate, you're short
it's
and bulky.
Fluffy. It's called Fluffy. Just...
Yeah, she's calling you big boned. You know you can talk magic. It's okay. Calling you ripped. See, she's complimenting you. Ripped off, really? I don't know. So what is Thea? Thea's probably like in between the two of you's height and lithe and graceful-ish, I would
She'd
imagine.
probably be about Nate's height. Because when I rolled, I actually used the rolling mechanism for Zenora. So I rolled and she ended up being 7 foot and a bit. Like 7 foot and a half. So yeah, so I actually rolled for that. And it kind of played into the whole backstory. She doesn't really fit. She's taller than most people. So, you know, they're usually about between 6 and 7 foot or, you know, that kind of range for Leonin.
Nice.
So, but I'd say Thea's probably a little bit shorter or about the same height as Zenithor.
All right. So the romances in the game. Do you feel that romances are helping or hindering the game? The Marigolds, the Harbin Westers, the Mavinas, the Tars. I'm trying to think of all the romances. The Conrad and Radalax. The I do feel. I just wanted to see his face, and it was perfect.
Oh, that's great. the Het and Ildries.
The Het and Ildries. I feel that they actually help you get attached to the chat, get attached to those stories and show their vulnerabilities as well as their heroics. What makes more facets for the character.
Yeah, I agree. I think it just gives the characters that much more depth and shows the more personal side of the character rather than just, hey, there's a monk who happens to be a dwarf who likes to punch things. And it just gives that layer of depth to the characters.
Go ahead, Jax.
I'd have preferred not to be in a love triangle, but in general, it's fucking hilarious.
I mean, so would Vittorius would have preferred that too for you guys, but
but I think as far as role-playing relationships, that comes down to the individual player, whether how comfortable they feel in that situation. Like I remember with campaign 1, I remember you coming to me and DMing and saying, "Hey, do you think Baz would be into this?" And I'm thinking,
always ask consent.
Ask him, because I know Baz. I mean, he'll just roll with the punches in RP generally, but also know that sort of thing he wouldn't think about on his own. Like he wouldn't go out seeking that kind of thing in the RP himself. But if it come up, he'd just roll with it.
Yeah.
And essentially, that's what happened. We rolled with it, and it just turned into what it did. And I think we've kind of seen that here in Icespire too. You've got obviously the love triangle with Drax and his cat, like the Ema and Harbin and Marigold, but then obviously the relationship between Radlac and his kids, and that situation. Then you've got the relationship between Zenora and Nate, the brother sister thing, and obviously Thea as well. Then you got Vilfin and his wife, that sort of coming into it, and even Conrad to a certain degree. Even though there's no personal relationship there, there's that tenuous friendship between Radlac and Conrad based on the Legion. So it's I think it makes the story to add those things.
And
in.
if we're doing trashy, Jinlu and Relora's relationship was very cool in that it's like comedic, but at the same time you actually feel for the character a little more. Like Vilfin and Mavina, I felt so much more for Vilfin, seeing that he has something that he doesn't want to lose in that death. It was a Mavina. Like, if there wasn't that relationship, it probably wouldn't have been a tearjerker as much as it was.
Oh, hell no.
Because of that.
You take that personal thing away, and it just, you just don't have that connection with the character.
Yeah. So relationships actually give you that thing worth fighting for that makes the story that much more great. So it's a good thing. I think that's pretty much all that I can talk about. You guys have anything you guys want to talk about? You guys are going to be awkward silent for me, aren't you?
I could continue talking D&D for hours, you know.
I know we could. I mean, we got about 15 more minutes we could talk about stuff. But we do have, I'm trying to not talk to VTM because we're doing VTM on Sunday talk, so that's going to be cool.
We can touch on VTM. I mean, we're going to go over it again on Sunday anyway, but I think we're going to be probably, depending on who shows up, we'll be talking a lot about season 1 and what's happened.
Yeah.
Up to where we're at the moment within the story, and obviously our experiences as new players coming into VTM, and I think this is where Magic. I mean, probably not going to be there till late, but with Magic coming into it with the experience of VTM and the rest of us not knowing a hell of a lot, it's definitely been an interesting experience thus far, and I'm really enjoying it. So,
actually, I want to ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
For everyone who's here, what is your favorite moment of the module we've just had, and what is your favorite moment of the campaign so far?
now you make me have to think about things.
So the module we just had, so for Stormlord's Wrath, and then all together.
Yep. So, Yanti.
Oh, why do I have to go first? That's not fair.
You put us on the spot, and I'm kind of paying you back for poor Sadiq.
Well, the one that is first in my mind always, when I've already said it before, is the moment with Emma and Gary, when Gary's a giraffe and he picks him up and holds him and he says, "I'm all alone," and Emma says, "Not anymore." I was like, oh, the feelings. Oh God, it was the best moment for me, because I got to see Drax not troll. Like, that was about the first time for me to see not Drax's serious side, and it was very cool.
He can be serious when he wants to.
Yeah.
I think that was probably the most vicious troll I've fucking had in the game. Like, you're not alone anymore, and then I'm gonna dump you on my friends and fucking fuck off.
Leave you. But there's been so many Zenithor and Zenora moments that have made me cry. Stormlord's Wrath, the resurrection, looking back, because when I was doing it, it was nerve-wracking for me. But looking back, that was really cool. And then all together in the campaign, I'm going to say that Drax one. But I'll probably pop up with more as you guys talk. So that's me. So who else? Zenora, you pick who else. Go. This is your question.
I know he's not part of the campaign, but Trashy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll stay on the fence with this one.
Oh,
No,
come
come on.
on.
Spill.
I know
spill.
you haven't watched them all, but what do you have watched? What do you like?
Have to be Zenora burning stuff. I like that.
I
One
only blew up you
pyromaniac
once.
to another.
Yeah, just the burning of stuff. Love it.
Mostly Vilfin.
Oh, dear.
Especially the beard. Gotta love that. Burning the beard, that is.
Right at the start. I mean, come on.
Drax
Seriously.
Ah,
I mean, Wilfin will never let her forget it. but
No,
All right.
actually, he hasn't mentioned it for a while.
Not for a while, no. It'll happen. Eventually.
We'll go to Grim.
Yeah.
Say what?
Well, Drax left, so.
Dang it,
He
Drax.
ran away.
I think for Stormlord's Wrath, and it's hard to pick just one, but it was always really intense when Nate and Zenora would talk. And there was some early ones and there was some later ones, and it was just really good. And I think for Icespire, and I'm gonna pick a moment for me because it made me feel something, but when Radlac first saw Serena, like I remember how I felt when that happened. And it sort of stuck with me. So I really enjoyed that moment, and I sort of wasn't expecting it to go that way, and it was kind of cool. So it's something I can always think back on, and I can always remember that moment.
I'm letting Zenora pick them. Go ahead.
Come on, Drax.
Oh, me. Yeah. I'd agree with Yanti in general. The probably the best moment for me was finding Gary the thing. I mean, that was sad in general. My favorite moment from first campaign, is, to be selfish, was probably Ema hugging the gods. I mean, that was another serious moment in general, in a trolley sort of way. Being the like, here everyone else has this cool shit, and will basically give you the ability to go back to your family in whatever form you want. And at the time, I was thinking, is like, sweet, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you this to all the other characters. And I was thinking, what could she possibly give a person who has absolutely no value or sense of value whatsoever? I mean, I couldn't imagine. And then she just knocked it out of the park. And it's just like, that was awesome. That's, I didn't see it coming, and it was just brilliant. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Aww.
So, Xanathor or magic?
I will have to reiterate for Stormlord's Wrath, and mind you, there's a hell of a lot of amazing moments for everybody, and it's just hard to honestly pick one in particular. But I think the one for me that had the most impact for everybody, which questioned a lot of characters in a will, was the death and resurrection part of the story. I think for every character that was there, it had a significant impact to each character in some way. We've seen, Vilfin questioning himself a lot. Same with Zenora. Ema, which I think got him triggering to eventually where he got to asking Nate about, towards the end there. I think, he started questioning things himself. So I think all their characters at some point were impacted by that whole singular event, and it changed the story too. It changed, even though we still completed the module, I think it had a significant shift, not only to the party but to the story as well, because there was just always that level of uncertainty that, oh shit, this can actually happen, and oh shit, there's a possibility we can't bring anyone back because we don't have what we need.
Yeah.
So I think that was probably the singular one. But I would also say probably the one that's the other one that I enjoyed the most, which happened in the epilogue, was Mina's fire dance at the
That's good.
at the lizard folk. I think that was because I know Mina would have been sitting on how to work it and how to do this, but at the same time going, I don't think I really want to do this. Is it too much? Because so it was good to see her just, after everything that her character has gone through, it's kind of like, this is my moment to shine. This is my big moment, and I thought that was very good as well. Now, as for the whole campaign so far, I that's hard too, because I come from both the viewer point of view from the first module to a player point of view into this module. But I think the moment that really stuck out for me was very early on with the Manticore. That whole sort of just set the tone for Zenora and the recklessness that we love her too dearly for. But it was just amazing how that all just played out. It's kind of like it's like some of the other characters kind of just went along with it as well. So even though it was an interesting moment, just everybody was there to back everybody up in that particular fight, and then to realize, oh shit, we're actually not going to survive this, and to come around with the potential solution to live another day, really showed the strength of the players in that particular moment.
And it started Vilfin's "oh crap" moments.
Pretty much. I think that's when he first came out with that little gem.
Okay, Sadiq.
In Icespire would have been actually dying as Sebastian. That was my favourite moment, funny enough. I don't know why. It was just like I'm sitting there going, yeah, we can do this, no worries. And then he dies. It's like, ooh, that's not good. And then coming in as Conrad later on was fun because it's a completely different spin on playing a character instead of being, yeah, I'm going to play with all the users and be your friends and all, is to more of, you're all just meat waiting to die. That was fun. Yes, Conrad is a dick, but at the same time, that's what he's meant to be. But yeah, that was good. And then like just watching the everyone's progression of going from a ragtag group that kind of work well together to being a little miniature family that really want everyone to get what they want. Like everyone's helping Ema to be, more human again after being a giraffe and get his family set up. Then there's Vilfin's found his wife, and so they want him to, stay with them, but at the same time understand why he wants to stay with his wife. And and then you got Xenothor and Nate, like Z, and that working out that shit in the past hasn't been worked out yet, and they're starting to get through it. And then you got the DM throwing more and more fire on the, petrol on the fire in between the two of them to make them work that shit out, so that they can be, a better family, type deal. But yeah, it's really, really fun just telling a story and then sitting there going, what happens if I push this button? And then seeing what happens after that, and seeing like how everyone sits there and goes, this is what my character would do, and runs with it no matter which direction it is. But yeah, that'll be it.
Okay, Evil.
I would say from Icespire, like from the very beginning, it was just, I don't know. It's kind of, again, it's really hard to sort of pick one moment that sort of stands out from everything. But I just think the initial dynamic with the group, but definitely the beard moment will always stand out in my mind, obviously, because it involved me. But I think just Sonora's passion through Icespire. Every time something happened, she was just so passionate about it, especially whether it involved, whether it was family or children, or just she wanted to help no matter what. Bugger the consequences, I need to help, kind of thing, which is never a bad thing, but can also have bad consequences if you, again, just not thinking about it, just running in headlong, I need to help. But obviously the Manticore thing definitely was one of those moments that could have ended really badly. We got extremely lucky there. As far as Stormlord, I would have to, again, just reiterate that resurrection moment. Losing two characters in a single battle, having them both die on the spot, and then the scrambling of the party to try and find 2 diamonds. Finding 1 diamond at that level, and this is becoming from a DM's perspective, finding 1 diamond at that level is almost impossible. Find 2 was just one of those situations that made it so much more dire for the party, and had everyone scrambling, what can we sell, what can we do, who can we talk to, and then decisions being made. And again, for the story, what Yanti came up with, I thought was brilliant. I thought it was an amazing idea to have that particular thing happen, and then have them both resurrected simultaneously at the same time. I thought was amazing. And then the moments in limbo for each character made that more interesting, and again made the viewers more interested in what was going on, because it's not just about 2 people lying on the floor being resurrected with a spell. It became a little bit more personal as well, by having personal things happen within those limbo moments. But I think the one moment for the entire campaign that stood out for me was, again, that resurrection moment was just what everyone said. Radlac, Xanathor, and Ema, just what they were saying to bring their friends back. And that, I mean, I'm not an overly emotional person. People know me, know that. I'm not into the mushy stuff at all. That's just not me. But Radlac, it was Grim that got me, and that resurrection moment was like, dude, you bastard, you fucking smashed me right in the feels, asshole. And then you did it again at the end in the last episode. It's like, I'm going to go talk to Vilfin. It's like, wait, what? Why? You son of a bitch. But you did it again. So, well done, Grim, for that. But those real emotional moments, I think, through the entire campaign have really stood out for every character, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. Agreed. I liked also, now that I think about it, the meeting of Stanzin, Tar, and Christoffen at the docks was freaking hilarious to me. That was funny, and that was a good moment. And I didn't think you guys would get attached to the NPCs, but you did. Some more than others. So that's pretty cool, you know? So I like that one
You
too.
can't tell me you didn't push that particular interaction.
I did. Well, until I thought
Yeah,
about it, I'm like, cat. He's hot. Yeah, I'm going to do it. And then Zenora wanting him to get laid. It's just funny as hell. So I was like, let's do it.
And the thing is, it turned into a really poignant moment for
It
Nate
did.
too, which I think is, again, kind of reiterates that rule of cool thing. Something that some people may not think about in the time as a DM. You go, I think that'd be freaking cool. Let's give that a shot. See how that turns out. And it really turned into a really poignant moment for Nat.
Now it's
and also that linked to that interaction between Wilfin and Nate over the necklace that he was given as well. So it had a real flow-on effect, I thought too, which I thought was really cool.
And it led to Zenithor's advice to Emma with Marigold, which, all that would never have happened. So it's kind of cool how that all turned out. Just from, this is funny, let's try it out, to, wow.
I think, like I say, I think those are the moments that sometimes can make a session or even make a campaign, is where you have those moments that are not generally planned, and they just happen to turn out that way.
Yeah. Do we have any other questions that anyone wants to ask?
We haven't heard from Mina.
Oh, that's
No, I was just
right.
thinking that.
Mina's trying to dodge
Well
the
done.
bullet.
Well, I was just thinking that. It's like, hang on a minute.
All right, Mina.
Sneaky bitch.
I was sitting
You
there
know,
going,
Big Brother was always watching.
I knew you were going to call me out. So
She's
I don't
being
have to
really
say anything.
quiet the whole time.
I had a couple of moments. I think the biggest moment that I had from Stormlord's Wrath, like everyone's talked about the dying and everything like that, it was the little interactions, and that interaction with Vilfin and Sonora with the hand washing, and just that silent understanding. It's like, yeah, I get it. It's not easy. Just mainly because of how right it felt to do it at the time. It just seemed, I need to do this with him.
Yeah,
I understand where he's coming from. The other one from Stormlord's Wrath is, "You be godmother." And I went, what the? That kind of threw me for a loop. Oh, hell. Okay.
Me too. I didn't know what's going to happen.
See, best moments come out of that. And then Zenora scrambling and going, "What's a godmother?" The one from Stormlord's Wrath is probably my favorite, was Nate coming in. And then finding out afterwards that it's like, she's going to bleed on. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, for fuck's sake. So that's probably one of my favorites. But my actual favorite thing of all of the campaigns, and this is another small moment, was Radalak trying to sew in pockets for snacks and all that for Sebastian to try and encourage him to come back.
Yeah.
It's like, and throughout the whole, even Stormlord's Wrath, it's like, we still mentioned, damn, I miss Sebastian, or, damn it, Sebastian could have done this, or, that kind of stuff. But yeah, just little things, like those little moments are what, the huge moments were great, and I loved all of them, but it was the little small pockets that probably make a lot of the campaign for me. Those small things.
Yeah. Redlack's full of those little tender bits. Oh.
That's because he takes a beating. Sorry.
Oh, I found another one. All the times of knocking on the door.
Oh, yes.
All those times. That was just a bad dice, a good dice roll in your favor. Bad dice roll for the DM. And it became a thing that lit up. That was great.
The amount of things that became canon because of like random moments. And I love the interactions of all the campaigns. You know, from Evils to the one shot that we did, to Sunday's game that we play. Just all those interactions as they come through.
Oh, the tie-ins, yeah.
Yeah.
Visitations from Karnos and everything else that comes along with it.
So when are we getting a Karnos visit in our campaign, Grim?
Yeah, you have to invite Baz over.
Yeah. Karnos is everywhere.
You never know. And Eggburn came in. Zadriel came in to see what else we can get.
Yeah, if not directly in there, then definitely tied into something. I kind of like that aspect of it, like molding things together and going, well, this connects to this, and it's kind of cool.
And
But I think it's almost become canon that everything we do now has to relate to something else somewhere along the line, whether it's Zadriel and Moriel, the tie-in there, or the mention of the dancing elephant in Curse of Strahd. It's just those sort of times are kind of cool, and it cracks me up whenever someone does it. I think it's amazing.
Oh, there's also, and I don't know whether you're going to play with it, but the fact that Tash from Sunday's game probably helped align Fandolin.
That's true. That is true. We have to get into that. Yeah. All right. Well, I thank you guys for coming in. And I will look at all the offline secret squirrel chats for session 1, which will be starting December 17th. So not this coming week, but the next Friday after. So we will be starting then for...
Sorry, guys.
So send me a message in Discord about it, otherwise I will forget.
Oh, yeah. I'll let you know before it happens too.
Yeah.
So
I'm there waiting.
Yeah. You're going to say something, Mina?
I was just going to say, I turned around and said, how can we wait that long? I'm like, well, if I have to deal with family, you have to wait.
Due to family engagements for some of the players, we will be doing it the 17th, which gives me more time to make a better story. So I could take all the stuff that you want to do and tie in a better intro. And I got to work on the trailer anyway, so we're going to work on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then New Year's Eve, not New Year's Eve, New Year's Day at 5:30, we will be having our one shot with a special little person coming in. So I'm excited about that. So we'll have a Friday and then we'll have a Saturday for a one shot. So long time to wait to get murdered in episode 1. Well, you know what? The best thing comes to those who wait, Emma.
You might want to see if Zenora's around so at least you can try and
revivify. Someone's got a diamond. Emma's got the diamond, so.
Yeah, nobody wants it, but we've got it. It's like, no, I don't want this. You take it. No, you take it.
Zenora doesn't even know that it's there.
And then when you need it, nobody's going to know who has it. That's going to be the thing.
I think I'll leave it with Marigold just when I go to the shop with Buddy Nate.
It's in town.
We went through the same thing in Curse of Strahd, though. It's like, we know you guys have a diamond. Who has it? I don't know.
I don't know. I think Fibble has it.
Okay, then. No, you have it. No, I don't. No, okay, you have it. No, maybe. I don't know.
I think it's really, really funny because it's actually the 2 Leonins that have the ability to bring people back to life.
Yeah, right?
I didn't even know you guys had the ability. I thought we were all waiting on Marigold for it.
I mean,
We can do it within the first minute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, in a-
they've got Revivify, so
Yeah.
within a minute they can do it that way.
Sonora's had it since Icespire.
Yeah.
So that's why she's been harping on about getting a diamond for the last half of the last last module in this module. Even more so since she died.
And I'm glad you guys came in. Thank you, Trashy, for coming in and sitting with us. And we will see you guys on the 17th of December for our Sleeping Dragon's Wake. It's very hard because it sounds Stormlord's Wrath, Sleeping Dragons. It's the same,
Twisted.
the same stuff. So we will see you guys then. Thank you for stopping in. Bye.